Time now is just about 6:10, so welcome back. Today is September 21st, and every year it's observed as World Alzheimer's Day. So joining me now to talk more about the disease that affects millions of Americans and their families is Frank Belanti with Right at Home. So the statistic is that 1 in 9 Americans 65 plus are living with Alzheimer's and dementia, and that's a lot. A lot of Americans, and I think it's one of those diseases that virtually every family has been affected by at this point. So there's a lot to talk about here.
There's quite a lot to talk about, and we're seeing it all the time, really, in the Valley itself. We're local. We've upped our training with the Alzheimer's Association, specifically because we're getting so many more calls, that the demand is there. People are noticing it more. I think it's going to be something that, as we progress, it's really something that's going to have to be dealt with or acknowledged in a way that works for all the families. And
not only that, but it's affecting Americans at a much younger age than we traditionally think or see. Right, in the media, it's affecting younger Americans.
Well, you come, especially even here, where families come visit their grandparents, and they bring their kids, and you have the grandchildren coming in, not quite understanding how things have changed with their grandparents, that the personalities are different, or they're forgetful, or there's a bunch of different things that come into play here. So, and the stigma of it, sometimes that people aren't discussing it as much as they should, and just being honest and open that it's an illness, it's not anything but an illness, and how to kind of really interact with that person.
Yeah, and when it comes to children, so from younger children all the way up to teenagers, what's the best way that parents can tell their children, like, listen, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, and this is what we need to do for our loved one?
Yeah, and I think it's almost a comparison to another disease, or like a flu type of that grandma, grandfather might be more forgetful now. We have to do things that they like to do, but to be very honest, that there's going to be a change, so that they understand that as this progresses, it's a disease. It's not something to be ashamed of.
And you're on the latest, following the latest, I'm sure, on the disease. So what's the very latest when it comes to prevention? What are they saying? I know that we hear about doing mind, games and that sort of thing, and keeping our mind sharp. But what are you hearing?
Yeah, I think exercise. I think reading. I think all these things that you can, and a lot of times it's not preventable. Right? I mean, it just is going to progress as it progresses. Acknowledging early within the family, I think, is really helpful, because you're having, if you've lived through it, you understand people are really good at hiding it, right? And you go through this whole system of not really having it, the family denying it, and by the time it gets to some, like our business, that we're out there to really help, there's a lot of components emotionally that have gone into this that make it more difficult than if early detection or acknowledgement of the disease.
And Right at Home it's in-home care. That's the difference, but then by going into an assisted living facility that cares for Alzheimer's patients. So what does Right at Home do?
Yeah, thanks for asking. We actually do go in people's homes, and that's why we've really upped our dementia care and Alzheimer's care and training with our caregivers. So they're our employees. We train them. They go out to people's homes and take care of personal care. People that may have dementia and Alzheimer's understand these other touches that may need to happen, and how to kind of navigate through this whole, to give a little bit of a break to the family, actually.
That's nice. That's really important work, and I'm sure it's also, something that, like I said, a lot of people are affected by it. I know my family was affected by it. My grandmother eventually died from progressive Alzheimer's. You know how that can go. It just, one thing leads to the next. So if you need any more information, reach out. Right at Home. It's really important work they're doing. So thank you.
Thank you.